Hi guys, how are we doing? It's Martin Cliffe here from Voyager Project with a quest for tone. I think it's episode 9. Looking at creating and building a sound. I'm going to do a series of these, but in this one we're looking at building a blues guitar tone. Now, before I go any further, there's bound to be people saying, you can't play blues, that's a pointy headstock shred guitar or whatever. But what is a blues guitar? You know, if you watch someone like Robert Cray, you'll say it's a Fender Strat. But Albert Collins, Telecaster, Weber Humbucker, tuned weird. B.B. King, 335. So, you know, some people play Gibson Les Pauls and play blues. Some people, Albert King used a Flying V upside down. So, who's to say I can't use this guitar to play blues? What we want is a guitar, far more important than anything else, that feels comfortable and preferably has a bit of tonal versatility. So, for me, the guitar that feels the most comfortable is the Egnater JS. That's why I have 2 of them. That's why I've used them as my main guitars for 8 years, and I'm not going to change anytime soon unless someone wants to give me a nice Sur or something similar. Okay, so my go-to tone, my sort of tone that we're starting off with, is loud, it's clean, and you know, it lets the guitar express itself. Now that is just guitar plugged straight into amp. So the first thing to do is to check that when we go through some kind of switching system, which I'm doing here because, or you know, if you just got a pedal board and you're running through it, you don't want to be impacting your tone in a negative way. So as I say, this is guitar straight into amp by a 20-foot cable. That is guitar into amp via 2 RJM mini effect gizmos and a MXL smart gate, which I have in my rig, is always on. So I've got no pedals engaged other than the smart gate, and all the smart gate does is it gets rid of a slight high pitched whine when I've got it in this setting. If I was using loads of gain, the smart gate would be really important because it would prevent all that kind of noise that you get when you stop playing. I've not got a volume pedal or anything in this rig, so I just want something that will, when I stop playing, the tone stops dead. Now, what makes a blues guitar tone? Well, that's entirely up to you. What I like is something that's got a bit of snap, that will make the single notes pop out, and it's just got a little bit of grit to it, what we call edge of breakup, with the silly quotation marks. Okay, so my approach to this, first of all, is I want something that will bring the single notes out, because my blues playing is a lot of lead work. So in the first instance, I take this tone, which is just a straightforward tone. For reference, probably for the rest of the video, although I'll tell you if I change, I've got both pickups on, volume and tone all the way up, humbucker mode. So there we go. So this is my tone, my go-to tone. Now I want to do something just to prevent the single notes from falling back compared with the chords. So my pedal of choice for this, you're probably thinking compressor. If you're thinking compressor, you're right. My compressor is the Xotic Effects SP compressor, which is fantastic. It's really simple. It's got 2 knobs and a switch. It's really small. Great little pedal. Now, the way I have the controls set is that basically they're both pointing at about 1 o'clock, 1:30. The way I said it was the bottom left knob I point directly at the other knob, and then I just continue up in a straight line. And the toggle switch, that's something like high, mid and low, is in the middle. So that's just the amount of compression you get. So that's how I have it set out. So adding that to this gives me so what am I getting there? I'm getting a little bit of volume boost, but not so much for the chord stuff, just more for the single notes. So if I play a chord without it on, then it's giving me more sustain than it is actually giving me extra notes, extra volume. But for single notes, you know, just helps the single notes pop. Now different people use a compressor for different things, but this is how I like to use it. Just something to bring the single note level up so that it stands level with the chords. So it doesn't matter whether I'm playing 6 strings or 1 string or somewhere in between. We're hitting the amp with the same amount of oomph. Okay, so that's covered the bringing up the single note side of things. The other thing that I want out of a blues guitar tone is a little bit of grit. Now, because I play all kinds of stuff, in particular I'm playing at church a lot, I don't want my amp set up for this kind of edgy breakup sound all the time. I like it pretty clean, so when I'm playing nice chordal things, maybe with some chorus or something, then it's perfectly clean. So what I use is a boost to just drive the front end a little bit harder, rather than having to reach back and crank the gain knob up when I want to. So in this case, again, I'm using Xotic Effects EP booster, and mine's the limited edition white one, but as far as I know, other than the first batch, which had a slightly different switching configuration internally, they're basically the same. So again, I've got this set, I think it's about 11 o'clock, the boost, and it's not a perfectly clean boost. I have a clean boost in my rig, but what I'm doing here is it's giving just a little bit of thickness and a bit of brightness as well to the tone. So it's a very cool pedal. So again, this is with no effects. And this is with the boost. So it's louder, basically. It's driving the front end of the amp harder. I've got, the way this is set up, it's got loads of headroom, so it's just kind of pushing it on the edge. It's not a drive sound, it's not a crunch sound or anything like that. I have other pedals to do that. It's just something that's giving me a bit of extra oomph. And then, obviously, because I'm building this tone, what I want to do is stack those 2 pedals. Now you can do it with 2 pedals, you can stack them either way around. Generally, the way my rig is built, my dirt pedals come first because there's some fuzz pedals in there. Well, actually it goes fuzz, fuzz, vibe, overdrive, overdrive. Then it goes to the noise gate, then compressor, EP booster, then there's a clean boost and a couple of delays in there. So yeah, so basically I'm going compressor into boost, rather than boost into compressor, which basically means that the compressor doesn't then negate all the effect of the boost. But when I've got a drive pedal in, it prevents the drive pedal from giving me too much volume, because then I can basically use however much gain I want, and then when I want then to boost the level for a solo, I'll kick in the EP booster, or I'll kick in the custom audio electronics 401. So I'm going to just scroll through. This is again a clean sound without any pedals. Compressor. Boost. Compressor and boost. So that for me is pretty much there. It's got just enough drive for these kind of bluesy leads. It's got lots of sustain, so I can do the kind of slow, long, lingering bends with vibrato that all blues players love. But it's still essentially a clean tone. And then I can kick the coil tap in and get, you know, very stratty kind of tones still, which I just do now. So this is neck humbucker. Obviously we're getting a little bit of noise on single coil mode, but nothing significant, thanks to the noise gate. So that's 90% of where I would want to be. Except if I'm playing solos, I tend to like a little bit of delay, because, you know, I'm not a 1950s blues style player. I'm more of a contemporary blues, rock, whatever you want to call me player. Very blues orientated and very blues influenced. But at the end of the day, the stuff I listen to is more your kind of jam band, stoner rock, progressive rock, even some kind of metal side of things. So I'm much more into the more modern tones in that kind of way. So I like some delay. But everything in my rig is analog, and the same is true about my delays. They are MXR carbon copies. So without the delay, with the delay. So it's set to, I don't know, 2 or 3 repeats. It's got modulation on, so the repeats aren't pristine. It kind of dulls the high end, which is great because it means they don't get in the way of the notes. And really you don't hear it so much until I stop playing, but it's just something that it's a kind of confidence builder, I guess, in that a lot of people feel slightly exposed if they haven't got delay, and I admit to being one of them. So a little bit of delay just gives me that confidence to maybe play things. It also kind of keeps me on my toes, because if I play a horrendously wrong note, rather than hearing it once, you'll hear it 3 times or 4 times. But it's yeah, it's just something that I like. I like digital delays too, but yeah, this rig is 100% analog, and I like that. I like that it isn't impacting my tone, in particular because I'm running straight into the front end of the amp with everything. So that would be kind of my go-to tone. I can do lots of things on the guitar with the volume and the pickup selector and tone controls and the coil taps to adjust that to suit. But I could probably play a good proportion of a gig using that. But obviously I like having the fuzz pedals as well, because that's what people want in their tone. So yeah, that's my how I build my blues tone. As I say, I'm going to do videos on how I build my other tones, some of my other tones. Some of them are really simple. I mean, this, let's face it, involves 3 pedals, Xotic effects, SP compressor, tiny little pedal, Xotic effects EP booster, tiny little pedal, and then MXR carbon copy, which is a normal sized pedal. So we're probably talking, what, 450 quid? Don't know what that is in dollars, 600 maybe. You might be cheaper because all pedals are cheaper in America than they are over here. Into the front of a 15 watt amp with a couple of speaker cabs. Obviously I've got them mic'd up with nice microphones, but it sounds great in the room, so that's what matters to me to inspire my playing. I'm just trying to capture it in as sort of good quality as possible for the video. Okay, I hope that's been of interest to you. As I say, there will be more of these coming up as I try and delve into some of the many strange sort of musical tastes and tones that I like to go for. But until next time, I've been Cliffe from Voyager Project, and I'll see you soon. Take care.